Hello everyone, this is part 3 of DSP Reacts to the John and Howard response video from November of 2015. If you haven't seen the first 2 parts, man, lengthy, pretty detailed, going through a lot of stuff. I strongly recommend you go check them out here on this channel before you watch this part. This part will be starting off to deal with Project 7 and then moving on to other topics as well. But we're going to go ahead and let's get started. You guys ready? Here we go. What the? Here we go.
The very beginnings of this thing.
Well, basically, we got together and like.
Well, how do you know Andre and Paul?
Andre and Paul are childhood friends of mine. We grew up together.
Yeah.
And basically, Paul, as we got older, Paul ended up going to like a film school, and Andre as well. So Andre went to a film school in California. Paul went to a film school in New York. And right around the time, like I had lost contact with them, and then like one day I ended up showing up to, I just met them. You know, I go to church with them and everything else, and I just showed up at the church and we were talking or whatever, and they were, you know, we're talking about YouTube and stuff, and you know, I made mention about, you know, that I started doing YouTube stuff, and you know, talked about a little bit about you guys, you and Phil, and you know, they were interested. So prior to me introducing,
so that's Andre up top, and that's Paul down below. Andre, primarily, the vast majority of the workload of the video editing, while Paul was more of the guy who set up the shots. He was the guy who had the physical camera, the lighting, the audio, like the microphone. He was the one who did that stuff, okay? So together, they formed a group called Respect the Pact. It was a YouTube channel, and these guys had been making edited style content for about a year. They had 2 videos that got very popular. One was Real Life Pac-Man, where it was basically Andre being chased around by a bunch of ghosts as he followed 3D dots down an actual filmed like sidewalk, and then he would grab a power pellet and he'd chase the ghost like he was Pac-Man. Okay, there was a second video, and that video was Real Life Street Fighter. Like what they did is they put all these effects over like people. I don't remember if it was them or not, but it was like Real Life Street Fighter with the energy bars and fireballs and things. It was really well done. So they had a little bit of traction, all right, on YouTube. But what it was they were trying to break out. They were wondering if maybe they could actually turn their hobby into maybe something that would be popular, get them some income, etc. And as Howard's about to outline, well, they were friends with Howard. Howard, knowing me, and he had started doing stuff on YouTube as a result of being in my stuff. There was interest to see Howard do stuff with him and his family. So he started putting videos on YouTube, and then they spoke with him, and then basically put 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 together. Next thing you know, we're all wrapped up in a project together. So here we go.
introducing you guys to them, I did a couple of videos with them on their, I think it was it Respect the Pact at the time? Or, I think it was Respect the Pact.
That was the name of the channel.
I remember this is how I remembered, okay?
Yeah.
I remember you came to me and you go, I got these 2 guys, they're my friends.
Yeah.
You know, grew up together and whatnot. They want to make some videos. Are you interested in doing anything with them? And then I go, you know, thinking about it, I go, let's bring Phil in on this.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. But I think when we, so when we
you initially was like, let's do something with these guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's bring Phil in on it. My buddy, you know?
That gets me when he says that.
And then it was like...
That gets me when he says that, when he calls me his buddy, because that's exactly how it was. It was like we had this fondness to each other, and how it all fell apart so fucked up. But yeah, I had nothing to do with the initial contact or idea when it came to doing anything edited style at all. Remember, I was just a guy who was pumping out raw, unedited gameplay content, and every once in a while, like a video review or a vlog. That was it. I didn't have any kind of high-level expertise in video editing, filmmaking, and nor did I really aspire to do anything like that. It was actually John, Rambo, and Howard who approached me to be involved in a project with these guys because they felt I had internet clout, I had a following, and hey, we get these guys involved with something on your channel and it gets popular, maybe it can rub off on them and they'll get something out of it, which is what they're looking to do. They would like to maybe long-term do something on YouTube that's profitable for them. Okay.
To do, and it wound up being the Project 7 thing.
Yeah, because that was like He started Project 7 when, like 2009.
It was I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was like a year before, and then we said, "Oh, let's, why don't we just reboot it?"
Yeah.
So that's a really, really short version. What happened is in 2009, I was dicking around on YouTube doing shitty edited videos like skits and stuff, just experimenting. And I had a series called Project 7 that was supposed to be me playing Final Fantasy 7, but I was kidnapped and forced to play it by a character called Deathface. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of that. Doesn't matter. Okay, there's nothing to do with this really. But when these guys approached me, all right, John and Howard approached me and said, "Hey, we got this team of guys called Respect the Pack. They want to do these edited videos. What do you think we could do?" And I said, "Well, out of all the things that I've ever done that might make sense to do an edited style, I wanted to do a highly edited series called Project 7, but I didn't have the know-how or the expertise. I dumped it after like 3 videos. I didn't even bother with it anymore. And I feel like maybe that could be something we bring back, but let's do something completely different, right? Instead of it being the original idea for Project 7, me stuck playing a video game like Final Fantasy 7 that I don't like, and let's do something different, a different premise. Let's get us all involved. Instead of it just being me, let's have all of us be in it as characters. That way we all feel, like we're all part of this project together." And that's really how it hit off. Was we wanted to do something. We didn't know what it was going to be. I said, "Hey, I got this thing on the shelf for like 2-3 years I haven't touched that I always wanted to do, but I didn't have the expertise to do it myself. Maybe this is the opportunity to do it." And that's how the idea started. Okay.
So I was in a process of that, and they were on board. Everybody was on board. We were having a great time.
Yeah, it was a great time, and honestly, it was like an experience.
I agree.
Not necessarily the videos themselves, but the experience of doing it was like a real big thing for me, man. Like I learned a lot from Andre and Paul, and I kind of got the bug to like, oh shit, I want to make like movies and stuff like that. Thanks to those guys, just seeing what they were doing. So it was a great experience in that, and then it all kind of started to slowly erode away and fall apart, man. I'd say what really punched me in the face, man, that's what it basically was. Right before episode 3 is going to come out, doing my thing. This is going to be a common theme on this recording here, where I'm just kind of doing my thing, doing what I got to do in my daily life, and I start getting messages from people, and I go, "What the hell is this?"
Trolls. The trolls. It's messages from trolls who are trying to goad each other into doing stuff. And even back then, because this was 2012, to clarify, the issues that we have are from like 2014, 2015. This was back in 2012. As far back as them, internet trolls were trying to pit us against each other and get us to say dumb shit against each other and get us to insult each other and get it, it's always been a preeminent thing on the internet since I've been making content that trolls are trying to fuck around and trying to interject and trying to get us to kind of be at odds when we're really not, and so there's a situation that's going to come up right now that's a direct result of internet trolling. So here we go.
So, right before episode 3 comes out, Phil puts out a video.
Here it is.
He's talking about Project
April
7,
2012.
Whatever, man. And it's just something he often says. He says he'll set it up. I don't mean to badmouth. Don't take this the wrong way. He says, "I don't mean to badmouth John Rambo. Don't take this the wrong way." And proceeds to talk about me. Talking about how John was given the best lines. And we gave him things to do. Because basically he's upset that people were in the comments saying that, John's the best part of this, or things like that, So yeah, he makes the video saying John was given things to do. He's given the best lines.
One thing I would like to say, which really pisses me off. Oh God! All right, hold on. This audio is bad. You can tell this is like in April, and for some reason the audio is terrible on this camera. Oh God, that was loud and annoying, right? Shit. It didn't sound like that to me before. I guess I'll down. How did it sound to you guys? Terrible, right? That was bad. Anyway, I'm gonna play it, and this video is not defensible. This video is me once again, along with what Howard said earlier on, me falling for trolls trying to trick me into saying and doing stupid shit. What happened was this was actually a calculated attack to try to get me to say something dumb about John. I know for a fact, I found out later on, it was all orchestrated. They were literally trying to goad me repeatedly in video comments on my forums. They were all trying to say this shit to get me to basically piss off Rambo, okay? And I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, 100%. It's my fault. I'm embarrassed at what you're about to watch. I will explain afterward what I intended to say, but look at what I actually said. Here we go.
Not me trying to badmouth John Rambo in any way, but in Project 7, this series so far, John Rambo's character in the series gets a lot of the funny parts. He's supposed to be like the deadpan comic that all of a sudden does crazy shit or does silly stuff, and it comes out really funny. And I want to let everyone know that we've been seeing comments on the videos that are kind of stupid, uninformed, and disheartening. Things like, oh, DSP sucks and Howard sucks in this series. It's all about John Rambo, John Rambo, John Rambo, you know. And that's true. A lot of the funny stuff was given to John Rambo. But here's the deal. We all write the episode. Just last week, myself, Howard, and John Rambo got together here in my condo, and we all collectively together put our heads together and wrote all of episode 4 of Project 7, okay? It's a group effort, and it evolves over time. In fact, a lot of the funniest stuff kind of just becomes improv, stuff that we didn't... There's a scene in episode 3 that you're going to see. You're going to piss your fucking pants laughing when you watch it. I shit you not. And you're going to know what scene it is when you see it. And it was completely improv by Howard, by OJ, by a couple different people on the fucking spot. So for people to say, oh, this one person is completely the funniest person, you're a complete fucking idiot. You don't understand the creative process of how this stuff comes together. The fact that we all put our heads together and write it. It's actually insulting for you to say one particular person is the best person in the series when we all write the series. Case in point, in this teaser trailer, there's a funny scene featuring John Rambo, and everyone says it's the best part of the trailer. And I even saw a comment saying, wow, this is Rambo's the funniest thing. Guess what? I wrote that scene. It was my idea to put that scene in there. I have no problem that it was John Rambo acting it out. In fact, for a lot of the Project 7 series, I've kind of been on the back burner. I've been the character that drives the story, meaning, uh-oh, I'm kidnapped. Uh-oh, now I'm emotional because I've lost my gaming powers. Uh-oh. You know, I'm kind of a tool to get the story moving, but I haven't really been at the forefront. I haven't been the leader of the guys or anything like that as of yet. That will change in future episodes, as you're going to see, but for now, I'm doing the role that I need to do in these episodes. I don't need to be absolutely fucking laugh-out-loud hilarious. John Rambo's had lots of opportunities to be laugh-out-loud hilarious so far, and so he comes across as maybe the funniest character. It's a difference between saying John Rambo is the funniest character in this series versus, oh, John Rambo's the only good thing about this series. Because then you have no idea how the series works, how a creative process works, and you're insulting everyone else who works on the fucking episodes. So shut your fucking mouths or get blocked.
Okay. Let's unpack that a bit. Okay. First of all, why did I make that? If you take a look, it was the Week in Preview. For those who don't know, the Week in Preview used to be a weekly series that I would do that would explain what else is coming up that week, gameplay-wise, and if there was anything else, like a special event, a trailer, an episode of Project 7, a review. I would tell you in the Week in Preview, this is when it's what's coming. Then later on, I phased it out because now I do a daily schedule every day up on Twitter and my channel page. You don't need a video to tell you what you're doing for the next week, okay? Why am I ranting about this in the Week in Preview, right? Because I got baited. Trolls orchestrated a situation on my forums where basically what they did is they went in there and basically started making posts on purpose to try to piss me off, and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. The posts were things such as, Project 7 sucks. And you go to read it, and it's like, wow, this entire show is trash. The effects are trash. The jokes are trash. The acting is trash. The editing is trash. Trash, trash, trash. And then they would literally say, oh, but John Rambo's really, really good in it. If John Rambo weren't in it, there would be absolutely nothing good about this show whatsoever. Okay? So, it wasn't one post. It wasn't two. It was like a whole thread of these idiots coming over on my forums, baiting the shit out of me. Could I have ignored it? Fuck yes. I could have just said, ban and close. Why back then I was so easy to goad into doing something stupid, okay? This is only one of many examples, all right? So, here's what I was trying to say, or what I should have said, or just never said at all, and versus what I said. what I was trying to get across here is that Project 7 very much was a group effort amongst all of our friends, you know, including Respect the Pact and all of them. Everyone put a lot of time and effort into those shows, okay? Everyone. And I was actually offended, not necessarily as much for me, but more for Respect the Pact in general. Because Respect the Pact was working a lot of time and effort on these shows, like tons of time. I knew they were working dozens of hours or more a week sometimes, editing these things and getting it together. And it was actually really starting to piss me off. It's one thing to see it once, twice. There's threads of this on my forums about it. I'm like, these people are just dicks because these guys are busting their ass to try to get these episodes out. And here's some, oh, the editing sucks. Everything sucks. John Rambo's funny. Everything sucks. All right? Now, in particular, again, it is true that the John Rambo character portrayed in the show is not completely written by John Rambo. I will tell you this, a lot of it was, okay? Not every single scene, but a lot of those scenes were written directly by John Rambo. And John Rambo had a lot of creative control, not only over his character, but a lot of input on the other characters in the show as well. I will today publicly say this. I feel that John was the best writer on the show. I feel that John was the biggest creative influence on the show. And I feel like the show would have never been anywhere as near as funny, if funny at all, if it weren't for John Rambo. His input was insanely key, and probably he had some of the best writing, if not the best writing, in the entire show. If you don't believe me, go watch his own show, Snodge Man and Hole Punch, which was the next project he worked on after Project 7 ended prematurely. He wrote that thing himself. He directed it himself. That's a show 100% Rambo and friends, but mostly him. And that show is only about 47, 48 times better than Project 7, I would say. Okay, when it comes to the writing, I'm emphasizing the writing because I'm not trying to downplay what Respect the Pact did with Project 7. The effects and shit in that show are way better than the show deserves, okay? But the point I'm making here is John absolutely is insanely creative, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I feel like he's not only so creative, he's way more creative than I've ever been. And I wish that he would have been successful with his creative ventures. And what I mean by that is I wish more people would have watched them. I wish that he would have maybe gotten popular for them. And I wish that he would have actually been able to make a living doing it, because you could tell he loves it. You could tell that's passion for him. He loved doing filmmaking things. But by doing that, he took away from the things that were, you know, part of his real life, which actually he kind of addresses later on in this very video, okay? So again, I'm not spoiling, I'm not revealing anything. Eventually, he ran himself into the ground working on Snodge Man and Hole Punch because he wasn't making any money doing it, okay? So, I made this video insanely stupidly. Instead of saying that, right? I say, oh, you know, everyone says John's the funniest thing, but we all wrote those scenes for John. And by the way, there's a particular scene with John that I wrote. I wrote that scene. So there's no way you could say that that was just John, because I was involved in that. There was absolutely no reason at all for me to say any of those things. At all. I should have ignored the trolls. I never, ever, 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 ever should have said any of that stuff. There was no point to it. Who was I fighting? A bunch of trolls on my fucking forums. Who cares? It was a waste of my time. If I'm going to argue with the trolls on the forums, whatever, why did I say it in a video to my public audience? That was just stupid and wrong and dumb and not even correct, okay? So, just clearing the air. John, you could have considered him kind of the head writer of Project 7, even though we all collectively had a major part of that process, okay? There was other parts that other people had the heavy workload. For example, the filmmaking, the editing, that was all Respect the Pact. For me, I was the promo man. I was the one who took the footage and I made promo trailers out of it. I pushed it on my channel. I heavily advertised it to my audience. I was the one to sell the product to a viewing audience. You see? We all had a role to play in this. But undoubtedly, I was feeling very insecure. I was feeling attacked. Like, basically, people were saying, everything you're doing is shit, you know, except for the parts with Rambo in them. Like, yeah, but the parts with Rambo in them, we all kind of worked on, too. So when you say everything's shit except for those parts, well, those parts were a collective effort. So the thing is, the way I say it, not that I outright say John didn't do these parts, but John took it that way. Like John saw that video and said, Phil is basically in this video saying that I didn't do any of those things, and that's untrue. I basically did the scene that he's talking about. And he'll say, he's going to bring it up. All right, he's going to bring it up. So let me press play, and then I'll see if I want to have any further comments, but I just want to clear the air. Completely bad video. Should have never made it. My fault. I shouldn't be baited by the dumb fuck trolls. I mean, I'm really stupid that I did that. And this was actually, in reality, this event of me making that stupid video was the first time John Rambo ever got pissed off at me. Ever. And he's going to talk about that. So here we go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a flat-out lie.
Yeah.
Flat-out lie. You know, he goes on to talk about, still referencing that same video, he talks about a scene that he came up with. He's like, there's a part of the trailer everyone loves with John. I came up with that. And it's interesting because, you know, the sentence before that, he's talking about how it's a group effort.
Yeah, and then he says that he came up with the lines or whatever.
The next sentence is, I came up with that.
Yeah, which is nonsense. And like you said, going back to what you were saying, John, this is a common theme. Yeah. Because again, instead of addressing this, you know, amongst ourselves, he addresses it publicly, which makes it even worse.
He's right, because here's the deal. I felt like I was the front man. I was the one representing the Project 7 to the public. The Project 7 didn't get uploaded to John's channel, to Howard's channel, didn't go to Respect the Pack's channel. It went to mine. So for me, I'm the front man. I'm the guy who's supposed to be the PR guy. I'm supposed to be dealing with this shit. I don't want to bother them with it. Why do they need to be inundated with this shit, right? They have their own lives and shit. This is my job. It's not theirs. They're the ones who are taking time away from their busy lives to work on this project, and then they want to go back to their lives. They don't want to be bothered with the trolls, the bullshit. So I felt the responsibility to be the man to handle it, and then I botched it completely by doing shit like that, okay? By the way, the scenes that they're talking about are the scenes where John Rambo in Project 7, I think it's episode 3, acts like Rambo, the character from the movies. He's stabbing viciously enemies. He's going, oh, with the gun. He's going, shooting everywhere, okay? Now, those scenes, I was the one who suggested, let's have a montage of scenes where John is acting like Rambo from the movie. But then John took it and ran with it, and he's the one who kind of brainstormed the ideas. We all had input. Don't get me wrong. We all had input. But John was the one who brainstormed those ideas into what that montage became, okay? So the way that I say, oh, I came up with that scene. Well, I came up with the concept. That doesn't mean that I wrote it, planned it all out, filmed it. I had nothing to do with that. I just said, hey, let's do that as the idea, you see? I was feeling insecure. I was feeling attacked. I was feeling like this is something that it was my baby because it's under my channel, right? It is. It's my project. I mean, yeah, they're all involved for sure. So you can say it's their project too. It's our project, but at the same time, it's on my channel. So I'm responsible to deal with all this horse shit that's going on, and I did it horribly. I did it absolutely terribly, and that's all. Let's go.
Yeah. There's no call to me. There's no conversation.
They didn't want to bother them.
Hey, you know, people are saying this shit. Maybe you could say something, or there's a way to say it differently, or is this something? Honestly, it's not something that even needs to be really addressed at all.
That's right. Ross G says you outright say I wrote that scene, but now you're saying you didn't because I did not write the details of it. I wrote the concept. There's a concept versus actual detail. The concept I came up with. Let's have John be like John Rambo and do a montage of shit. And then John did it all, thought up all the ideas and all the intricacies. I probably had input a little bit in it, but he made it come to light. It's the difference between saying I have an idea and versus the person who actually makes the idea happen, you see? So that's the truth of it.
Yeah. Basically, people saying I like this aspect of this show that you want me to watch.
Yeah.
But he talks about a scene in the trailer that he came up with. I came up with that. It's basically the part where I'm shooting the gun like Rambo does.
There it is.
It's not exactly a genius idea, and you know, I think several people suggested it. And when it was actually filmed, it's not like he's not like he was directing the scene.
I don't think I was even in there.
Okay, it was, you know, it was something I did, you know, to put it frank, you know.
There was a lot of ad-libbing in Project 7, and there was a lot of trust. It's like the scene is John Rambo acts like John Rambo and goes crazy. I trust John Rambo to figure it out because he's smart. He's an intelligent guy and he's creative. He's gonna figure it out. I didn't direct him. I wasn't the director. There was no director of Project 7. We all did it together. Like, there was no, oh, I'm head director, and this was the guy who did it. We all helped each other to get through it, and that's, I'll be honest, that's why a lot of the times the shots look like shit, because there's no director saying, do this, do this, do this. It's all of us just kind of doing it on the fly. So he did that completely by himself. I didn't tell him, oh, just do it this way or do it that way, and he shot it a few different times. You know, it was Paul recording, and he did a few different times to get the shot. So me saying, I wrote that. Well, I didn't write it. I thought of the concept, and then he ran with it and basically did the rest of it.
About a scene that, the scene where he's like, there's a scene in this episode that a lot of people put together. John wasn't involved in it.
Didn't say that. That's false. He says, oh, there's a scene in this episode that people put together. John wasn't involved in it. Didn't say that at all. I said there's a scene in this episode that's put together primarily by Howard and OJ and a few other people. It's this scene they're going to show. It's Howard and OJ acting it out, and then John had input in it. I never said John wasn't involved in it at all. He puts those words in my mouth because he's angry at me for basically apparently saying that he wasn't a good part of the series or didn't have as much influence as he did. That didn't happen. So I hate to say it, but this is also kind of a theme in this video that they did about me. They take one thing that outright is undeniably true. Yes, I outright shouldn't have made that video. I outright said things in the video that were factually untrue. Then they spin it and say that I said something I didn't say. I never said John wasn't involved in that scene. I said it was primarily Howard and OJ, and I said other people, implying, yeah, he was involved too. So was Paul filming it. So was probably Andre, okay? They already did this previously. They said, oh, Phil said that we talked shit about him. No, I didn't. I said a bunch of dumb shit I shouldn't have said, but I never said you talk shit about me. And then you have a whole segment about it that I said you talk shit about me. I never said that. So this is a theme with this video is say a bunch of stuff that's true, but then all of a sudden throw shit out there that's not to kind of corroborate what we're saying. They didn't have to do that. They had enough. I fucked up enough. They didn't have to throw other shit on top of other shit when already there's a pile of shit, you know?
OJ and some other people put it together. Of course, it was the great scene where you, what was it? You shoot the gentleman and then you say you didn't wash your hands.
Scene. Yeah.
Okay. In all honesty, you know, it was put together by you, OJ, and me.
Yeah,
and
correct.
Andre and Paul filmed it and directed it. So basically, everyone was involved in putting that together but him.
I was there watching the whole thing. I just didn't have any real input on what they did.
It's just mind-boggling why he would do these things publicly.
Yeah, it's one thing. I mean,
because I'm an idiot, because I'm a sucker, because I fell for the troll bullshit over and over and over back then. They really got to me. They made me feel insecure. They made me feel like shit. They made me feel like everything I did was a waste of time. They were telling me it publicly all the time. They were making "This Is How You Don't Play," saying all the content you ever made in gaming is worthless. You're a terrible content creator. You don't deserve success. And it got to me. And I made tons of mistakes like that. This is one case. There was tons of videos. This is the only one that they're involved in. There's tons of cases where you can see Phil got baited again. Phil got baited again. It happened all the time back then.
All of this is true, like he said. Let's say every word he said is true. Even then, it's fucked up to be saying this.
To be saying this.
You're right. I should have never said it.
Not only are you saying it, but it's also a lie.
Yeah.
I should have never said any of it. It had nothing to do with anything. And most of it is half-truths or partial truths.
Okay, let's talk about this. So, on that specific episode, what did I do? Why did I deserve to be treated like that, okay? I show up. I do the very best I can. I try very, very hard to do my best. I brought OJ into this. I brought Chap into this. Those are people that I went to high school with. I go back a long time. Chap is a professional actor. He played the gaseous snake gentleman. I brought them in, tried my very best, and why is this stuff said? Why does this happen, right? So I'm pissed off, man, at this point.
And you should be. It was stupid. Why am I talking about this
on the internet? I talked to you first. I think I was ready to be done with the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the breaking points for the show to start ending. It was that, and it was that, and then after that,
slowly eroded from there.
Eroded from there, and then the erosion started getting substantially worse.
Because he saw people say, "Oh, John's the best," whatever, and that made him so upset.
Yeah.
Now I'm angry.
No, I was angry because they were downplaying everyone else and basically saying the entire show was shit, which it wasn't. I was angry because I felt like, it's particularly Respect the Pact was being disrespected with the things that the trolls were saying. But I shouldn't have said anything. I should just, fuck, who cares about them? The show had good viewership. If you look, the show had hundreds of thousands of views at the time, which is big for my channel back then. So I don't know why I even said a word. I got baited again. But no, I wasn't trying to downplay or insult Rambo at all. Although some people definitely said it came out like that. And in addition, here we go again, right? What happened? The trolls messaged John. Hey, John, did you hear what Phil said? Because it worked. They tricked me. I said stupid shit in a video. Here we go. Send it right to John. And John looks at it and says, what the fuck is this shit? What is this shit? What is wrong with Phil? Why is he such an idiot? Now I have to slap him. Okay, he didn't say that. But he did call me. He's going to talk about that.
And what's funny is I think people were trolling because I think he'd made statements like in the past about it, like
Yes.
a little bit, but not to like this degree where he's
I'm
like,
stupid.
you know, it pisses me off when you say that you shouldn't say John's the best or something. So people start doing it like out of spite, just to fuck with you.
He's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They might not even necessarily think that. They're just, let me just write this because I know it makes him upset, and then he buys right into all that.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%.
So at this point, I'm really pissed off. So I call him. I call him immediately, and I
Slapped him.
fucking have it out with him, dude. I tell
he
him
didn't. He should've.
everything I'm feeling about it, and I'm pissed off. So
I mean this now. I know this is in a joking manner. Okay? But I'm just going to say this. I'm not kidding. If he had walked into my place and slapped my face, I would have been like shocked, but I would have not been angry. Because I mean, he was a really close friend of mine. You know what I mean? Like he was basically my closest friend at the time. And if he was so upset that he felt like it was that much of an insult that I was saying this fucked up stuff, I wouldn't have wronged him. Or I wouldn't have felt wronged by him. If he punched me in the face, I would have been like more upset that I upset him to that point than him striking me in the face. That's the kind of friendship I felt we had. You know? I felt like if there's something really wrong, he'll tell me. So here we go.
to his credit, he apologizes profusely. Says to me that he felt insecure, or he is insecure. He shouldn't have said it. He just got really frustrated with what they were saying, and he just couldn't take it anymore, and he had to say something, and he exploded. So he apologizes to me, and I accept it. But he never actually says anything publicly. There's no public apology. There's no clarification about what he said, how it wasn't exactly the truth.
Yep.
And then what basically happens is there's people that are his fans, and a lot of them not very bright. Let's be honest here. And they start shitting on me. They come at me and they shit on me because they think, oh, fucking, that's what Phil wants me to do, right?
Wrong. It's the trolls. It's the same people who goaded me, go to Rambo, harass him, right? This is not my fans doing this. When did I ever told my fans to go do anything like that at all? Ever. And there's been people who've been outright wronged me on the internet. Like outright did dastardly fucked up really nasty shit. When did I ever tell them to go do anything? Never. Now what he's saying is, oh, well, Phil's fans aren't very bright. So when he makes that video and he doesn't publicly denounce what he said, they go and attack me. It's not my fans, dude. Those are the trolls. Those are the trolls that the same people who are harassing me are now harassing you. And if anything, again, I'm sad that they did that because he didn't deserve that at all. He did not deserve that in any way, shape, or form to have trolls coming after him just because he was involved in my content. It's fucked up that these years, see, before this year, before Project 7, I would say that John and Howard, particularly John, Howard, again, wasn't really involved in much of my stuff, but John was insulated from a lot of that toxicity and negativity of the internet. He didn't have a lot of that rolling over to him. In fact, most people praised him constantly for his work in my co-op stuff, for his vlogging, for the stuff he was doing on his own channel. They loved it. Then all of a sudden in 2012, when This Is How You Don't Play hit, well now let's harass the fuck out of everybody, including everyone around Phil and everyone involved with him, his family members, his friends, his co-worker, everyone involved in anything. Harass, harass, harass. So he's thinking, oh, Phil apologized to me. This is great. What happens? He's still getting attacked for it. People are saying, wow, you really didn't do that much at Project 7. I don't even know what they said to him because he never told me that part. So I don't know what Pete trolls are saying to him. I have no clue. I don't know who's going and harassing him or whatever. Certainly I didn't say any. If you look again in that video, did I negatively say that John was taking credit for anything that he said. No, I never said, oh, John's overly taking credit for things. Not at all. That wasn't the point of me even trying to make that video. So I have no idea what they said to him. He didn't deserve anything. They should have been quiet, and I wish they never contacted him. Now, he says, I never said anything public. He's correct. Until today, I never talked about this. Why? Because, again, I'm the front man. I'm the public-facing figure. I want all that vitriol and shit tossed at me. So I think if I say anything further, I already made a stupid video that got us all into trouble. All right, right? Like everyone already, I look bad. And I said something in that video too that actually pisses me off today. I said, oh, we've been looking at the comments and we think this. That was me, not we. That was me. I was misrepresenting all of us as a group in that video. Okay? Completely wrong to do that. And I had this conversation with John. He was incredibly pissed at me. We hashed it out. By the end of the conversation, everything was fine. It was water under the bridge. Everything's fine. No lingering issues. Here's how we ended the conversation. Okay? Don't ever address it ever again. If you see criticism come in for the series, ignore it. If you see anything come in, just ignore it. That's what we agreed. So why, if that was our agreement, just ignore it, ignore the trolls, ignore all of it. Why after the fact would I have gone public and talked about it again? It would have actually gone against what we agreed to. Our agreement was just don't talk about it ever again. It's fucking stupid. Why are you giving attention to trolls? Just ignore it. John's right. Let's do that. So then why would I go public again and say, oh, by the way, let's talk about that subject again? That wasn't what he told me not to, essentially. He's like, don't address it again. But now here we are years later, and he says, oh, well, Phil should have publicly went forward and said something. Well, why? Because he got harassed after the fact. So, again, hindsight's 20/20. Maybe the better thing to do would have been going public and said, listen, the whole thing's blown out of proportion. I fucked up. Sorry about that. But we agreed not to. And so then he got harassed for it, and now he feels bad about it years later, like I was hiding the truth from the public. No. So we agreed not to talk about it again, so I didn't. And then now you're mad at me 3 years later because you got harassed for it online. You can be mad at me for being harassed, but don't be mad at me for not doing something that we agreed I'm not going to do, Okay.
Yep.
He wants me to do that. And again, why did I deserve that?
He didn't. Yeah. It was my trolls. It wasn't my fans. It was my trolls going after him.
So continue with Project 7, man. So you said it started to fall apart at that point. What do you think happens? Where do you
started to fall apart? And what was basically happening was these guys were working 50, 60 hours a week on getting this shit edited to try to pump it out with these unrealistic timelines. So naturally, what's going to happen is people are just going to get burnt out, which ended up happening. Couple that with the fact. And again, we don't want to talk too much about it, but couple that with the fact with money. These guys are putting all this time and effort into this fucking thing. And what do they get? Gugats. That's what they got. Because when you think about it, right? You would think, because people are, when I say this, people are going to come back and say, well, Phil promoted their channel and that's all they wanted. No. Here's the bottom line, right? You would think out of the kindness of your heart, you would go ahead, damn man, these guys are putting all this time and effort in this thing.
It's not even kindness, it's just what's fair is fair.
What's fair is fair. Let me throw them a couple of bones. Whatever the case may be, throw them some money here and there, some percentage of the profits and this and that. So what ends up happening? John and I are talking about this.
Okay. So before they because they're going to get ahead of themselves to another portion of this. So now I have to tell you guys the whole story, which, really is no one's business, but they're the ones who brought it up, not me. As you know, we never publicly really talked about the behind-the-scenes situation of Project 7 outside of Respect the Pack couldn't do it anymore, and I didn't find a suitable replacement, and therefore that was the end of the show, period. In this video, for the first time ever, they reveal, the reason that the show ended is because Respect the Pack wasn't getting paid, okay? Completely false. It really is utterly, completely 100% false. I hate to say it. This is 100% baloney. So allow me to explain the whole situation of what really happened, okay? When John and Howard presented to me the idea that we're going to do a creative show with these guys, we met them. We had a whole meeting at a Starbucks. We sat down for hours hashing out idea after idea of how this would go and all this stuff, all right? And I remember in that initial meeting, what we started talking about was eventually how would we figure out who makes what, how's it going to go, and all of that. Now, again, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, clip this. Same as before. If you're going to do business with friends, doesn't matter how much friendly you are with them or how long you've known them, you have to have a contract in place. If you don't, you will always have bad feelings afterward, period. Okay? I wish I made a contract with Respect the Pact with these guys about this show, because all this has ever done is led to problems. And as much as I look back fondly on the time that we worked on the show, end result was so much drama, so much bullshit, and apparently something I never knew. This was a key factor in them basically not wanting to be my friend anymore, which I never knew. I didn't know about any of what they're about to discuss until they made this video. It was never brought up with me. It was never fully discussed at all. Never. It was never a topic of discussion ever. So if you don't tell me, I don't know. This is if 3 years later, after this project ends, now you make a video exposing the truth of Project 7, but no one ever said this to me at all during the entire time this was going down. Okay? Now, let's talk. I'll tell you the truth of how everything went down with our arrangements. We all met at the Starbucks, and it was like a 2-3 hour meeting, all right? And we were talking about what idea do we want to do? Oh, let's do Project 7. Let's reboot it. Oh, what's the idea? Oh, I know. I lost my gaming powers. Like, we kind of brainstormed all that on the fly. So right up then and there, we started talking about money. Now, not that it was a huge topic of discussion, because none of us were looking to make a fortune on this show. In fact, the initial discussion was, even if it becomes popular on YouTube, great, but how do these shows really take off? And I started telling them about my experience knowing of other content creators who had made fun internet shows. And it's not the show on the internet making the money, it's all the shit that comes after. The merchandise, the DVD sales, getting it syndicated on other channel networks and shit. That's where the money is. It's not the initial, oh, I ran the show on my channel and got so-and-so views. It's everything that comes after. Going to a circuit of conventions. And when you're in those conventions, you have a panel to promote your next project that will make you more money. And then you sell merchandise tie-ins and things. That's where you make money on these projects, okay? It's not about, oh, I got 100,000 views on the video and I made $100 of profit on ads or whatever. That's nothing. That's fucking nothing. It's chump change, right? You're talking big picture. You want to get a web series that gets maybe we make Project 7 and it gets the attention, all right, of everyone around on the internet. Wow, it's a good series. And now all of a sudden, Machinima wants to pick the series up and produce a new series and pay us to do it. And now, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what happens. You get all these, sponsorship. Sponsors want to come in and run their products on the show and shit like that. That's how it works, okay? So I explained this to all of them up front. And I'm like, you know, and by the way, everyone's in agreement. Everyone's kind of like, that makes sense. So, you know, even though, yes, maybe some point down the road, all right, we'll talk about, oh, let's divvy up revenue if there was ad revenue on the videos. We don't know if there will be, or if it'll even be popular. Let's talk about merchandise sales, DVD sales. The whole intention was, let's just get together. Let's make this thing. Let's fuck around with it. Let's put it out there on the internet and see if it gets popular. If it does, great. Then we'll talk long-term about money. We'll talk about splitting shit up. The whole idea was we were going to sell t-shirts and DVDs. That was really it. Like, once season 1 is done, which season 1, just so everyone knows, was supposed to be 6 episodes, 5 story-based episodes, and then a Christmas special. And then that was supposed to become a DVD set that we were going to start producing and selling for profit on the internet, get the word out there, and then season 2 would be hyped up and sell a lot more and all of that. Okay? There you go. So, that was the agreement we came to. Now, respect the pact specifically. When we first met, said to me up front in the meeting, in front of everyone, we're not doing this for the money. We're not looking to make $1 on this series. What we want is we want our channel, Respect the Pact, to get attention from the series. We want promotion. We also want to see if we can start monetizing our own content. Because as I said, they had already made 2 very popular videos, the Real Life Pac-Man and the Street Fighter video. They weren't getting anything out of those. They wanted to get into a partnership network, but their channel was very small. No one knew about it. They wanted to be noticed, okay? So, we agreed that what I would do is do everything I possibly could to get their channel noticed, to give them credit for the work, and also, one thing that's never brought up whatsoever in this video whatsoever, which is absolutely ridiculous that they left it out because it's completely unfair, I got Respect the Pact partnered with Machinima so they could monetize their videos. At the time, it was not easy to get a channel into any kind of a partnership because you had to have qualifying criteria. You had to have a certain number of subscribers, a certain number of viewers, etc. Because back then, the partnerships on YouTube were all managed partnerships, meaning that company is vouching for you and your content, that you're not going to violate the YouTube terms of service, you're not going to steal copywritten content. They're vouching for you to put ads on the videos and they get the revenue and you get paid a flat rate. So they wanted their channel to be monetized. That was the agreement we had. Let's get Respect the Pact monetized. Now, we'll make Project 7 for you. We won't even care about the money you make on it because we're going to try to make our own videos on our own channel that are going to start bringing us in revenue and our own revenue streams. In tandem with that, let's go ahead and you promote our content on our channel and we'll make money on our own shit and then we can do our own stuff later on, but we can have this nice collaboration with you, getting us the attention we want. On the back end, we'll talk about maybe selling DVDs and merch, and then later down the line, we'll talk further. That was the entire conversation we had. Okay? Go look. They were partnered at that time with Machinima because of me. I went behind the scenes and I talked to my contacts at Machinima and I say, hey guys, here's a great group of guys I'm working with on a project. They're really trustworthy. They got great content. Check out their 2 popular videos. They did. Because of me, they got a partnership. All right? Now, I can't tell you how much money they made on their own videos or the partnership. I have no idea. I'm not, I don't know. I don't even know what kind of a partnership they got. Was it the same as mine? Was it less? I know it wasn't more, but I don't know what it was, right? I have no clue. I can't even, they couldn't contractually, they probably couldn't even talk about it. But that's what happened. So they're now able to monetize the videos on Respect the Pact. I'm promoting Respect the Pact in all the Project 7 content, and frequently, if they had a new project or something that they wanted to be mentioned, I would mention it if they asked me to do that. Okay? That's what was going on. Now, as for Rambo and Howard, we never had a discussion about what they were going to make because, again, we were friends, right? So here's what we'll do. We'll make the show. We'll promote it. We'll go to conventions to premiere the episodes. We'll attempt to maybe sell some merch along the way. And then when season 1 is done, we'll make these DVDs. We'll pump them out. The whole idea here was that I was going to finance it all. Like I was going to pay for everything. So if the episodes made any money, that money was going to be reinvested into the show, making merch, like making the shirts, making the DVDs. That's where the money was supposed to go. That was profit on the show. It was never, oh, well, we made an episode, and now there's 5 of us involved in making the episode. So you take the actual money you made from Machinima on that episode, you divide by 5, and everyone gets paid. That was literally never once discussed, ever, when we were talking and developing Project 7. Not once. So for them to start this conversation here, saying basically, oh, Respect the Pact didn't get anything. Respect the Pact got exactly what they wanted. Literally to the T of what they asked for. That's what they wanted, and they got it. Now they're going to talk in this video about how that falls apart, all right? And I will add more to that because just so you guys know, to prepare for today, I went through every email I ever had with Respect the Pact. I'm not going to read those emails on this stream. That would be, wrong. I'm going to paraphrase as best I can, but I'm going to tell you exactly what happened from what they were telling me, okay? Let's continue.
And John says, I'm going to talk to him. So what does John say? John goes up to him and says, dude, throw him some money, man. These guys, if you throw them some money, they'll continue. If not, they're going to stop.
Yeah, and that's a great point because, anytime there is a problem, I always do address it right to his face.
It's always done. That's true.
So
which is not being said now.
What does he say?
I forgot to change the camera. Thank you. Okay, let's continue.
He has the audacity to say, "Oh, they didn't." I told them, or I asked them if they wanted money, and they denied it. That's a fucking load of shit.
By the way, timeline's wrong. He's saying all this happened first. Wrong. What happened? The timeline's wrong. He's going to now go into what happened before this. Again, this whole video, the timeline is so skewed, you can't make heads or tails of what they're saying. He's saying that they wanted money, so John came to me and asked me to pay them, and I said no. That never happened. Okay, not once. That's completely untrue. It's a completely different sequence of events. They decided not to be part of the show first and outright said, we're done. They literally sent me an email that says, I read it last night. It said, we are done. We don't want to be part of the show anymore for personal reasons. They said some of it is because our channel Respect the Pact, which was partnered at that point with Machinima, was not getting the views and attention and making the money that they had hoped it was going to do by being involved with this project. That was one factor. But then they also say in the same email, there's also other personal reasons keeping us from continuing with this project. So the email, the way it's written, is stating, we quit. We can't continue. Yes, a portion of that is because we weren't making enough money on our channel, but also we have other personal stuff going on behind the scenes we'd rather not discuss publicly. There's absolutely no way to continue. Okay? Then John comes to me a few days later when we're doing our co-op session. He says, why don't you throw the guys some money? I said, here's the email. They don't want money. They outright say right in the email, they can't continue because of personal reasons. So if I now contact them and say, let's talk money, they're going to be like, did you even read the fucking email? We said we can't do it because of personal reasons. Like, you know, now the truth of the matter is I did arrange a meeting with them anyway. I did. I arranged a meeting with them where we were going to sit down and still talk about whatever was going on because I said, listen, I wish you guys the best. And I want you to know something. I appreciate all the work you put into the series. If we have this meeting, it's not going to be me pressuring you to come back. If you want to talk about that, that's something. But I would much rather say, hey, let's just have a conversation, and we, even if it's goodbye forever, have a nice life, at least we have the conversation. All right? Here's what happened. We had the meeting scheduled at the same Starbucks of the initial place we had met, and I got the shits. I ate leftover pizza, and I was crabbing my brains out that day. So I had to cancel. And then I never rescheduled because, all right, you want to know the truth? I knew they were already done with the show for good. I knew they weren't going to come back to it. And I have some reasons I can tell you this. But I can't tell you yet because I want them to say it first. Okay? So let me go ahead and press play, and I will get to this in a second.
So,
because I talked to them afterwards about it.
All right, so Project 7 was a lot of work for them. I don't think it was much work for us. Despite what Phil would talk about how hard the day was. It's
No, it wasn't. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard for us. It was hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was one day of filming.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was hardest for them by far, and I can vouch for this from someone who's done video editing before, not to the extent that they do, not even close. Even me doing a stupid edited review of like a video game, like a game review, okay, like the old Hateful Truth. Those could take days to edit. And then you think it's all good, you render it, and you go to watch the finished product, and it's shit. And you're like, I fucked it up. I gotta do it all over again. Can you imagine how long it took for them to do those edited shots with the effects and things? Howard's saying, oh, maybe it took him 50, 60 hours a week. I believe it. I 100% fucking believe that fully. Respect the Pact put the most work into the show. I put the second most work into the show. Not because I wrote it, because I didn't. We did it together, and a lot of that was John. But I was the one who had to promote the show, who had to upload the show, who had to push the show, who had to advertise the show, who had to work with Machinima to get the show shown on Machinima channels, which we're not even talking about in this video, but I got the show try to get syndicated on Machinima and stuff like that. I was doing all that legwork with the show. So even though I didn't do as much work producing the show, like actually writing or filming, I was doing all the legwork to get it out there. So I did the second most work on the show. Now, these guys are like, oh, our roles were easy. I'm glad they feel that way. My role wasn't easy, and neither was Respect the Pacts, okay? They say, oh, it was a day of filming. No. For me, it was a day of filming, constant uploading, editing, re-editing the trailers, pushing them, mentioning it constantly in all of my content, working with Machinima to get it on their networks and all of that. It was a lot of work. It was. And keep in mind that every time that I took time out to work on Project 7, I wasn't making gameplay. That was my most profitable product, which we're going to talk about in a moment, because they're going to start talking money and how much I made on it, and this is going to give everyone a big laugh. So let's continue.
7 hours in one day, and then you go home and you're done.
Before you continue, John, just to give you guys an idea of how long it takes to do things. One of the scenes that we did in that part 3 was a bullet scene where we're firing bullets. They told me it took them 4 to 5 hours to do that, just that scene, and that scene was what, 5 seconds? 5 seconds?
Yeah. Trust me, I know.
I believe that too.
I know about that. So it gets to a point where it's a lot of work for these guys. They feel like they're not getting anything back. and they're not getting credit. They're not getting,
Oh, no. Not anyone getting credit. They outright say in their email to me, oh, we know we're getting the credit and we know you're doing everything you can to promote our stuff. We're just not getting enough notoriety and enough money out of our own stuff for this to continue. That's what they said. They had nothing about credit. They loved the amount of credit they were getting.
monetize things, nothing. Okay. Something happened. Andre had basically a big life-changing thing. He's having a kid. Okay? Andre's gonna have a kid. So they basically say, look, we can't do this anymore. We can't do the Project 7 anymore. It's just not it's not worth our time, man. We got other stuff we got to do. So I had a conversation, like Howard said, I had a conversation with Phil. I said, listen, you have to make it worth their while, man. Throw them money. And I'm not saying throw them like thousands of dollars. There's already been, at this point, there was already 4 episodes that had come out, right?
Yeah.
Because we did four episodes that had come out. So I said, listen, just divvy up the money. There's 5 people in this. There's only 5 people, the crew and the whole cast, okay?
Yeah.
The video's made a lot of money. If you look at the views, the amount of views, he gets paid on views. It's like $2 for every 1,000 views that he gets. So simply, figure out how much you made off all these videos. I know that Phil spent a lot of money on props and stuff, so subtract all the costs. That's fair, right? Subtract all your costs, then you have a number, and then split it the 5 ways and throw them the cash.
Yep.
And offer that to them. There's no guarantee that they're going to continue with the series, but hey, man, at least try. And that's fair. His response: they don't want money. They don't want any money after this, based on what he says. They told him that.
Yeah, and then I asked them about it, and they said he didn't even talk to them. And this is what I mean.
I can pull up the email right now, but like I said, I'm not going to do that. I could literally pull up the email they wrote to me and said, we are not continuing with the series. Yes, the money and the notoriety was a factor, but it's personal reasons that we cannot continue. He outright says, Andre's having a kid. I knew that because they told me. They probably shouldn't have. They told me that. And I was like, all right, if he's having a kid, how the fuck is he going to have 50, 60 hours a week to work on our show and hold down a job to raise his kid? I get it. All right? Now let me get this straight. You want me to seem like a pushy jerk and go to them after they outright said, we basically quit. Here's the email in writing. We're doing it on purpose. They didn't call me and have a conversation. They wrote it in an email on purpose. So it was in writing. We quit. Okay. Now you want me to go back to them and try to be pushy and be like, well, what if I give you some money? Will you keep doing it? Will you keep doing it? No, he's having a kid. I don't want to bother him anymore. At this point, when this was what I was told, I said, all right, forget it. I will look for someone else. And in fact, there were 2 candidates that I had to work on this. One of them was actually someone who I had gone to high school with at one point. And my dad was friendly with his family, and he was a professional video editor and filmmaker. And I was someone who I was talking with about this behind the scenes. And I was going to contact him and start making offers. And then what ended up happening was, this happened, they quit or whatever, and within a couple of months, I started getting all this toxicity and negativity about Project 7. Everyone guessing that, oh, the series ended because you fucked it up, or this happened, or that happened. I was like, now, wait a minute. Maybe it's not the best idea then. Maybe if we're going to do something new and fresh, we should do something new and fresh with someone new, a new group, rather than start worrying about, continuing Project 7 in general, okay? But then something else happened, okay? In early 2013, I started deciding that I wanted to move out of Connecticut. I said, I don't want to start in a giant creative endeavor, all right? That's going to be an overreaching thing that's going to take months and months to work on if it's my intention that within the next year to 2 years, I want to leave Connecticut because I don't like living here, okay? I determined, hey, I can do what I do anywhere in the country. Why am I going to live here? So the whole thing fell apart, and I just said, forget it. And I never did it ever again. All I did was I just worked on my own edited content from then on, my own gameplay content from then on. If there was something that I edited myself, that was it. I never had any kind of a collaboration like this ever again because of pretty much the way it went down, okay? Now, again, I have the email. I read it. Do you want me to be pushy to these guys and try to force them to be part of the project again by offering them money? that would seem pretty fucked up in my book. Like, I think that would be a terrible thing to do. They're telling me that we don't want to be involved anymore. You know, they didn't tell me Andre's going to have a kid. They told me that Andre's having a kid. So how the fuck is he going to work on the show anymore? He's the one doing all the editing, right? So that was the end of it for me. Now, you want to talk money. This, in my opinion, is so fucked up. These guys don't know anything about the money made on videos on YouTube when it comes to what I was making on Machinima. They don't know anything about what I spent. I never wanted to talk about this. Now I have to, because he's gonna bring it up right there, Mr. Smiley up there, Howard. He's gonna bring it up next in the video. He's gonna start talking about T-shirts. All right. Oh boy, now I'm gonna start to get upset about these fucking T-shirts. I wish we could go back if I could build a time machine right now. Okay, and I could make a DeLorean time machine. I would get in there with Doc Brown. We would go back in time to the moment when I was on Vista Print clicking make these shirts, and I would destroy my computer. I would take a sledgehammer and smash my computer into pieces in front of me and say, I'm from the future, bitch. Don't do it, you fucking idiot. These T-shirts will haunt you forever. And then I would jump into DeLorean and leave. I can't believe the trouble these fucking T-shirts have given me over the years. All right? Now, let's talk quickly about the money involved with Project 7. Okay? I financed all the props. Okay? Except for the ones that were brought in by Respect the Packs, a few prop guns they already had from other shoots. They were filmmakers. Okay? They had this stuff. I financed anything that had to do with the marketing of the show and or merchandise. Me. That was me spending that money. Okay? I also financed a bunch of props that were never used. All right? Because we had plans to make all these episodes. We had talked it out. This was a done thing. We liked doing the show. After 1 or 2 episodes, we liked doing the show. Everything was good. Right? And you know, so I started buying stuff for the show in advance, okay? So, first of all, let's talk profits and money on the videos, okay? It's impossible to go back in time right now and see in 2012 how many views these videos had. I particularly remember the first video probably had around 100,000 views. The second video did way better than that. I believe it topped 200,000. The third video, we got fucked. YouTube had a bug, a glitch, that screwed everyone's video views up within about a 24 to 48 hour period. And episode 3, when I uploaded it, had more likes, more comments, and more engagement on the video than the first 2 episodes fucking combined. But it claimed it only had like 51,000 views when it was sky high the most viewed video ever, like of the series. It didn't make any sense at all. Okay? We got screwed over royally on that, and I got paid based on views, not ad revenue. So we got fucked in the butt on that episode. Okay? And then lastly, there was the 4th video, which was the final episode. If I remember correctly, that year when all was said and done, if you add all the views together for all the different videos, it was probably a couple million views, if that. Maybe, if that. Okay? Maybe less. I can't tell you. I'm guesstimating. All right? So if you do the math, subtracting taxes and all of that, I can guesstimate that the Project 7 videos on YouTube made anywhere between $1,000 to maybe upwards of like, say, $2,000 of profit. If that, again, we're highballing it. Okay, well, let's highball it and say it was $2,000 that those videos made total. Okay, fair enough. Nothing to shake a stick at. $2,000 is a lot of money, right? Okay. Now, what did I spend on Project 7? Well, you could argue that every day that I worked on Project 7, pushed Project 7, I didn't make other content that I could have been making, right? I could have been making videos that were going to make tons of money, okay? And I didn't. That I'm not even factoring in here. Forget that. Throw that away. Strike that from the record. That's not even a consideration here, okay? What did I actually spend money on, right? I bought props. In episode 3 of Project 7, you will actually see a large gun that's from Gears of War That gun alone was around $300. Okay. I bought a ton of other props, like all the wardrobe and things that you see in that episode. I bought. It's all me. Bringing it in. That was a couple $100 all in all. Episode 4, some of that, not all of it I bought, not all, some, okay? I don't even know how much that was, quite frankly. I have no concept in my head. I don't remember anymore. What did I spend money on outside of the episodes? Phil, spent $900 on t-shirts. Me, okay? Clear that up because he's going to bring it up and I'm going to clear it up. This is a bullshit story that he's telling, all right? Completely wrong the way he tells it. And I'm pissed off at it because these shirts have haunted me for ages, okay? I spent $900 on t-shirts, Project 7 t-shirts. The intention was we were going to travel to conventions and sell them in person as we premiered the episodes at conventions. And we were also going to sell them through John Rambo's website, which he was already selling other merchandise through to represent his podcast, okay? So literally we weren't going to get any extra cost to sell these things. It was already going to happen naturally, but there was an investment. Back then, there was no Teespring. There weren't these websites that make t-shirts on the fly. You had to buy the t-shirts first, all right, in order to actually sell them. I spent $900 on those shirts myself. Before anyone else was involved investing money, I bought them. It was after the fact that Howard here got involved, and we'll talk about that in a minute because he's going to bring it up. All right? So now just do the math in your head. $900 for t-shirts, $300 for the gun, a couple $100 for... Wait a minute. We're already like $1,500, all right? Oh, by the way, I also invested in a ton of other props you guys have never fucking seen because we were supposed to keep doing this series. I bought a big-ass assault rifle from Mass Effect, a Mass Effect replica assault rifle. It lights up. It makes fucking noise. It was going to be excellent for the sci-fi episode we were going to do. We were going to do a whole episode based on sci-fi characters, parodies of Star Wars, parodies of Mass Effect was at its height of popularity back then, okay? I don't even want to tell you how much that one was. That was the most expensive thing I bought, and that was exclusively supposed to be for this series. What am I going to do, play with a fucking gun? It's supposed to be for the show, okay? So, all these costs involved, all right? All of them. And you want me to be real about how much money Project 7 made, okay? Project 7 made anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 in ad revenue profit from Machinima's payments to me, and Project 7 made me a grand total of about negative $1,000. I lost money on Project 7. It was a piss-away project for me. It was, I want to do something creatively different. I want to do it with my friends. I feel like this will be something fun to do, and we'll all have a great time doing it. Hey, if we end up making money in the long term on it, great. That really wasn't the intention to begin with. It was supposed to be a fun project I do with my friends, and then if we find a way to monetize it in the long term, great. Apparently, these guys came into it with way different expectations, okay? However, the key to this story is coming up in just a moment. Let me change the battery. The key to this story is coming up, and it reveals everything. And this is a telling factor in this video that if you don't have a frame of reference, you won't get it, but I'm about to reveal it. So let me go swap the battery quickly. You know, keep in mind, other things I didn't talk about is the conventions. We went to 2 separate conventions that I got us into to advertise Project 7. I paid for their hotel rooms and shit for that. You know, I mean, I could keep going on and on and on about this. The money factor of their video is so ludicrous and stupid because it's so fake. You want to talk about, Phil spoke out of turn and said fucked up things on the internet about us. Great. You want to say money was a factor? You're out of your fucking mind. It just never was. I was the one always spending and always doing everything. And these guys were looking to make like a fortune, I guess, on this shit or something. I don't know. But again, I'm telling you from my perspective, this was never an issue. It was never brought up. It was never addressed. It was never yelled. No one ever got in my face about any of this. Everything was fine. They kept showing up. They kept doing co-op with me. They kept doing all this stuff. Why would you do that if you're mad at someone because you think they owe you money, right? It doesn't make any sense at all. Anyway, let's continue because we're getting to the meat of the matter right now. Let me swap back over. We're almost done with Project 7, thankfully. Let's continue.
There's no conversation.
Right.
So and then what everyone has to realize is this is this is like a whole bunch of things that has happened in the past that just irritates people. Because now what ends up happening is like, do you value money more than our friendship? Because if that's the case, then why
What
am
is
I
he
even
talking
here?
about?
Right.
You know?
What is he talking about? What, do you value money more than our friendship? I wasn't making money on Project 7, and I also paid your way to go to conventions and shit. Like, what are you talking about? Again, he's like, oh, well, on top of all of that, there also should have been more money coming our way. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, when did I ever pick money over friendship? Ever. And by the way, it's funny because there's parts coming up here where they're going to say, oh, well, you know, I needed money, and then Phil gave me money. So here we go.
So let me ask you, did you get anything out of the Project 7?
First of all, we're gonna talk about that. I didn't get shit out of Project 7.
So no one got paid. Now here's the thing. I got paid.
John got paid.
I got my percentage.
Yeah.
There was at that time period. There was a point where my car had broken down, and I needed to get. Actually, I got a used car. I bought another car at that time. So I go, Phil, listen, I'm not coming to your house because I have no car. If you want me to come, throw me my percentage from the Project 7, and I'll use that cash towards a new car. And so I got my money, but there's 3 other people, you guys, that got zero.
That got.
John Rambo did not get paid for Project 7. This is a lie. However, it's my fault. Because I was trying to be a nice guy and a good friend. So during the whole time we're doing Project 7, John comes to me one week. Well, doesn't come to me one week. He calls me one week and he says, I got bad news. He goes, my car broke down. And I don't have any money to fix it. I need a new car, essentially. I don't know if it was he needed a new car or he just needed money to fix it. I don't even remember what it was. Okay? I don't. But essentially he came to me and said, listen, I need help right now. I need money. And I don't like asking for money, and I know we didn't talk about getting paid for Project 7, but could you give me the money that maybe if we were to break it down, what we made on views? And I'm hearing him, all I'm hearing is, he needs help. I don't even care his justification. My friend needs help. He knows I have money. He fucking knows I make big money, making videos on YouTube. And my friend needs help. He doesn't want to ask for help because he feels like that would be wrong to do. So he's justifying it by saying, all right, I need help, but can you pay it as like a percentage of the profits of Project 7? I didn't have the heart to tell John Rambo that Project 7 lost me money. What was I going to say? I can't pay you, John, because Project 7 lost me money. I made lost money on this project, so there's nothing to give you. Sorry, you have no car now. No, here's what I did. I said, okay, John, I'll do that for you. And I pretended to make calculations that didn't exist. And then I sent him the money he wanted. I don't even remember how much it was. I know it wasn't a lot. It was probably, hundreds of dollars. I don't know. I don't remember these things. I just sent him money because I wanted to help my friend. It had nothing to do with the profits of Project 7 at all. That's how he spun it. But he didn't know that there were no profits. And I was lying to him, basically saying, here's your cut. There was no cut. All right? So, again, I did something where I felt I was helping my friend. I'm doing the right thing here, right? I don't want to tell him there's no money in this project and that it's basically a friend project. That's it. I'm going to help him out. Years later, this is his evidence to say that I was, why did I pay him and not others? Like, this is a bad thing that I did. I helped out my friend, and I get crucified for it years later. You know what I'm saying? Like, this whole Project 7 thing was nothing but fucking trouble for me. For what? I just wanted to have fun with my friends. I thought we were going to do a fun project together. And all I get is get, attacked for it. It's excruciatingly exhausting. Because this is, you guys got to understand something. Maybe for some of you, this is the first time you're hearing it. This is something that I went through for years. And we're going to get to the shirts now. Oh my God. We're going to talk about the t-shirts. Okay? The fucking t-shirts. Favma says, why not tell him the truth? Because John was the kind of person, he wouldn't have taken the money then. I would have said, I lost money on the project. I don't, and he would have said, well then, all right, I'm sorry I called you. He wouldn't have taken it. I wanted him to get a new car or fix his car, whatever it was. I don't want to fucking have the guy with no ride. That's fucked up. Not only is he doing work for me for co-op, he has a job, he has a life outside of that. He needs to go to it. His car probably broke down because of me. You understand that? He's driving his car from New York to Connecticut and back once a week to do co-op with me. It's probably why his car's busted. Feel kind of responsible for that. I want to help my friend. Okay. Let's get to the shirts. Let's get this out of the way.
Now, whatever. From my end, it's whatever. But this is what burns me, okay? We in the middle of this whole Project 7 thing, we all, you, myself, and Phil, came up with the idea, let's make t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
So
yes, and actually it was in the initial meeting that we had at Starbucks. We brainstormed, we will make t-shirts together and eventually sell them, as well as we said we will sell DVDs long term.
what do we
Hold
do?
on, let me just hit the brakes for 1 second, because we're talking about money and we should have gotten money.
Yep.
Like you say, it's not about the money, it's like what's fair.
It's what's fair, yeah.
Like you
What
have
does
a
that
job, I got a job. Those guys are like, no one's homeless here, no one's like destitute, and we're like, oh man, Project 7, we need to make this to pay our bills, or we need to make videos to pay our bills. It's nothing to do with that. Like, we don't necessarily need the money, okay? And again, it's not millions of dollars here. It's just, it's whatever is fair. It's fair. Because as friends, you would expect to be treated with respect, and you tried hard on this.
But
this is your cut.
Here's the thing.
Since we're a team, as you said, and we all did it together, and it's not one person. It should be fair, and it should be divvied up.
To add on to what you were saying.
So, what's fair? Okay, so what's fair? Did they really want me to divvy up negative $1,000 and give them bills each for $200? You know? And you can argue, all right, well, Phil, you invested all that money, but that's on you. Fair enough. If any of them came to me and said, hey, we'd like to get paid, we need the money, I would say, okay, and I would have paid them. And it would have been out of my pocket, out of the videos that I made, had nothing to do with Project 7, I still would have paid them. Okay? I did that with John. There's your evidence right there. John just said, I did it. I would have done that with any of them. So what's fair? Well, it earned nothing. It lost money. But if you want to get paid for it, let me know. I'll pay anyway. No one ever did. Besides John, that one time he wanted money for the car. No one else ever said a word to me about it. Respect the Pact wrote me an email saying we quit and it's not about the money. It's a personal issue. I don't get it. I'm really lost here. I'm definitely utterly lost. I just don't understand it. And maybe it's me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Let's continue.
Yeah. Okay? To add on to that. So, what happens, right? We go ahead. We don't get our cut, which is whatever at this point. But we start showing up to your house, and what do we see? The guy starts buying figurines, starts buying all this ridiculous shit that there's no need to buy. Then we show up to his house one day, and what does he have in the fucking driveway? A BMW. So how the fuck do you think I feel, and how do you think these guys feel after the fact? Is there anything, do you not understand how this burns people when they put all their freaking hard work into this, and you're making all the money and the glory, and none of us ain't making shit?
Yeah, it's more about respect and being fair.
It's about respect, man. You have no respect for your friends, for your family. You don't give a shit about anybody but yourself.
I have no respect for my friends and my family. I don't care about anyone but myself. It's interesting. It's very interesting that he would say that. Okay? Now, I've already revealed to you guys that Project 7 lost me money. So, these guys are coming to my house, right, to film Project 7. John's coming to my house every week to do co-op. And absolutely, my house is filling up with stupid statues and dumb shit. And today, I've already told you guys a million times, I was frivolously spending my YouTube money on junk that I didn't need. And long term, it was a waste of time and money. I never should have done it. I know that now. Back then, I thought, oh, it's a new prop for a video or something. I was justifying it in a really stupid way. Okay. The BMW part, I never owned the BMW. I leased it. We could talk about this till we're blue in the face. It doesn't matter. There's neither here nor there. The issue is they're showing up to my house and there's stuff in the house. I'm spending money, but I'm not paying them for their work. Okay? The stuff in my house is stuff that I bought with the other time that I'm making videos on YouTube. You know how I worked 7 days a week with no time off at all for like 3 fucking years? You know how later on these guys will kind of complain and say that everything that I ever did was about money. Well, It's because I was constantly making content and videos for the internet. I had this workaholic nature, right? And yes, absolutely, that's a problem. Maybe I should have had time for personal stuff. Maybe I should have made more time for my friends. Maybe I should have had a separation to have a personal life along with a public life. I did not do that, okay? For 3 years, 3 fucking years that I was monetizing those videos hardcore, I didn't even have a day off. Not even a day off a week. It was just videos, okay? It's like Howard somehow forgets that I have a channel that brings in, millions of views a month. He forgets that there's insane amounts of other content on. All I was doing was Project 7, according to this guy, Like, essentially what he's saying is, we need money, but we won't say it. We never asked for it. You should have just given us money because you were making money. I wasn't making money on Project 7. I was making money on literally everything else that I was putting on the internet. I was losing money on Project 7, but he wants money. So Howard asked me for money. Say, I would like to be paid for Project 7. I would say, well, we never talked about it. It never was supposed to be a concern or an issue, but if that's how you feel, fine. John did. He got paid. Respect the Pack told me we didn't want the money. We're quitting because we have personal reasons. If they had said, hey, Phil, we want money, they would have got paid, right? It's just ridiculous. You want money? I'll give you money from what I'm earning outside of Project 7. I'm okay with that. You guys put a lot of work into the series. Great. I understand that. But you're asking for money that doesn't exist. You weren't entitled to because we didn't have an agreement in place about that. So why would I just start giving you money? It didn't make any sense. The money was coming on the back end. If we continued with the series, there would have been DVD sales. There would have been T-shirt sales, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Don't worry. And then he's coming in to my house looking at statues in the car, and he's pissed at me. You're pissed at me for what? Did you not see my channel? My channels? At that point, I had multiple YouTube channels. Millions upon millions of views. Not Project 7 views. All my other content was making those views. It's ludicrous what he's saying here. It's absolutely ludicrous what he's saying here. Okay? And then you have no respect for your friends or your family. Why? Because I bought statues with my money that I earned with my videos? What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, by the way, we're going to another convention next week that I arranged for and I'm paying for the hotel room and the gas for. So, you'll come into that, right? Like, what the fuck? Anyway, it's pretty obvious. I don't think that I even have to say the word. People in the stream chat have already said it about 1 million times what actually happened in the situation. Okay? Now, please, for the love of God, let's get to the fucking T-shirts.
That's and maybe that's not even true. Maybe it's not true, but that's how it comes off.
See? Yeah.
And that's what you're expressing to other people.
Howard goes to the extreme. Phil has no respect for his friends or his family. And then John says, that's probably not true, but that's how it comes off. Wait, what? Who's poisoning the well? Which is the theme we've been talking about. There's a circle of friends. Someone's poisoning the well. Gee, I wonder.
People, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're not.
How do you think people feel?
You're not thinking about You're not thinking about others and how it affects them.
It's the thing is nobody's jealous. Nobody's nothing. It's when people make money. One person makes money off the back of everybody else.
And on top of you're putting videos out there, we're going, I did that.
Yeah.
I came up with that, and it's like, no, you didn't.
See, now they mix the two things. Well, is it about money or is it about who did the credit? Now they're mixing the issues. And that's where, again, they do this, change the timeline, mix the issues. Now you're confused. Oh, well, if this one thing happened, then the money thing is true. You have 2 different issues with me, then have the 2 different issues. Don't say, they're the same issue. They're not. He's mixing the 2 to try to make me look even worse. I wasn't making money on a project. They want money from it. I'll give it to you anyway. Just tell me you want it. No, we won't do that, though. It's a history of passive aggressiveness. It's over the years, these guys had issues that they had with me. They didn't tell me. Or if they did tell me, we hashed it out and immediately we were supposed to be okay. They said they were fine. Next thing I know, they still hate me behind the scenes. But how do I know that? They never said anything, And again, I'm not trying to say I'm innocent. I'm not. I made a lot of fucking mistakes. This money issue is bullshit. This never was an issue. It easily could have been resolved. This is something that they created. They created the issue behind the scenes, and then they just propagated this negativity with all of their circle of friends, whatever that means. They just kept circling around and hatred and bad feelings and never told me. I can't do things that I can't fix an issue I doesn't know exists. I'm not psychic. They wanted me to be psychic. They wanted me to be like, oh, Phil is filthy rich and he's just going to start throwing money left and right all over the place because we worked on a project with him. Like, no, that's not how. All right, let's continue.
These guys worked hard to put that together.
Worked hard to put that
You
together.
didn't
Getting a headache
actually come up with that. All right, so let's get back to the shirts thing.
Finally.
This is
The shirts.
disastrous.
I want to get this out of the way before I split the
We
part.
get together
Oh,
and we decide let's make T-shirts. So we all put money together, and I'm gonna throw out the figure. It was about $900.
I just said that.
Okay,
So
I had no idea.
$300 per person. We put
Wrong. $900. Here's what happened. We met at the cafe. We had the ideas, right? We did the initial filming. We met at the cafe again, had more ideas for episode 2. During the initial work on episode 1, all of a sudden, Respect the Pack sends me these logos. I didn't ask for them. They just sent them to me. I said, what are these? They said, oh, these are the t-shirt logos that Howard wants. What? Oh, these are the t-shirt logos that Howard's talking to them about making because we're going to sell t-shirts. Huh? We didn't even discuss this. We didn't have any ideas for logos. Nothing. He was behind the scenes talking to Respect the Pact about making these shirts. And then he basically told them to make them. So they send these to me. Right? Here's some t-shirt designs that you guys can sell. I didn't even know they were doing this. I had no clue they were making these logos. Not pictured here. There's 4 or 5 of them. Another one is me holding the Xbox 360 controller upside down like this, looking like a buffoon. There's a few different designs. I purposely said, no, if we're going to do shirts, let's go with the designs that have all of us or our character that we created together, Deathface. Actually, it's not true. I created Deathface for the original Project 7, but then we redesigned him for Project 7, the reboot, and that was a work of all of us. But I said, if we're going to sell merch, it's going to be merch that's all of us together. It's not going to be just me on the shirt. I want it to kind of be all of us collectively because it's all of our work together, right? So, I get these logos from Respect the Pact. I was tasked with figuring out where to make shirts. Not them. I was. My job to do this. So I'm looking all over the internet and actually Respect the Pact that said, I heard there's a sale at this place called Vistaprint. Now, incidentally, I bought business cards from Vistaprint before. I like the quality of their work. So I went ahead and I went to Vistaprint. I created the shirts myself with the logos that were made by Respect the Pact. And I bought the shirts, okay? I did. $900 out of my pocket went to the shirts, okay? The shirts show up. They look all right. They're not great. As you can see, they're not full color shirts. Back then, they didn't do full color shirts. Again, this was before Teespring. And so these shirts are at my place, and we determine what we're going to do is John's going to try to sell these on his website where he's already selling T-shirts for his show, John Rambo Presents the Show. It's his podcast. But we're also going to take these T-shirts along with us to conventions, okay, to sell. So at the time, there's a discussion. All right, well, Phil already bought the shirt, so who wants in? I already bought them. Who wants in on this investment that I've already fronted all the money for? Howard says, I want in. I'll pay $300. John says, I can't do that. I can't afford it. So John was never involved with the shirts, the money making of the shirts or anything like that. It was only Howard who had invested this $300, okay? So essentially, it was a $600-300 cut. I was going to get 2/3 of the profit. Howard was going to get 1/3. Of course, keep in mind, I'm still paying for all kinds of trips and things, so it's a wash. I don't really care about the profits from the shirts. I just wanted something to sell so we could have something tangible the fans could have because they like the series, right? Okay, let's continue.
the money together. Then we start figuring out, we go to these conventions, we do this, this, and that. The T-shirts aren't selling. So whatever. I'm going to cut my losses. I don't give a shit. Right?
You heard what he just said. The T-shirts aren't selling. All right, whatever. I'm going to cut my losses. I don't give a shit. So that's the end of the story, right? There's no more T-shirts involved. That's it. That's the end.
Comes up to us, we're talking about it. He's saying we're not making any money. We sold only a few T-shirts. Because when you thought about it, once you sold the T-shirts, you were going to make a decent amount in profit. So we're not making any money. So we're just going to have to cut our losses. Whatever. At that point, I accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he leaves here. He leaves Connecticut and he moves to Seattle. He gets to Seattle. He starts doing this Project 7 reboot thing that he's doing. Yeah. Making videos, doing all this stuff. Then I start finding out that he's reselling T-shirts.
This is, by the way, this is all wrong. Not even correct order of anything. Not even close to what really happened. What we have on the screen right here, which you probably cannot read, is what was actually on my Patreon at the time. Pledge $100 or more per month. Patreons or patrons who donate $100 or more a month will receive one of the remaining Project 7 T-shirts from their limited run in 2012. Supplies and pictures are very limited, so the first come, first serve. Okay, and I said free shipping worldwide. And then a personalized video. I will autograph the shirt. Yada 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 yada. Okay, a bunch of stuff was included. It was a patron perk that you could get a T-shirt along with it. Originally, it was $100. Later on, it was lowered to dramatically less, to $20, I believe. It was either 20 or 30, in which case I was losing money. I'm not kidding. Again, here we go again. Me losing money. Had these shirts up as a Patreon perk, and the cost to ship them worldwide, which was supposed to be included with the cost of the perk, was more than the cost of the shirt. So you have people pledging $20, $30, and it was costing me $40, $50 to ship it worldwide. So I stopped doing that too. I actually just stopped doing it entirely. I said, I'm not going to do this anymore with the shirts. I'm taking it off because it's actually a loss. Okay. So these are like the haunted shirts. You can't make money on them. You got friends who are pissed about them. Right now, I'll tell you the full story because this isn't true yet. Let's keep going because they're going to continue, and then I'm going to tell you the true story because this is all bullshit. What he's saying right now is completely false. Let's continue.
Or he's giving them out.
It was for his patron.
For a Patreon.
As far as I understand, I could be wrong here, so if I'm wrong, please correct me.
Yeah.
Anyone out there, but for his Patreon, it's you give a certain amount of money. I think maybe it's $40 or $50. Then you will get one of the shirts.
Yep.
But the problem is he doesn't actually own the shirts.
False.
Completely.
Yeah, he doesn't own the shirts completely, so he's giving them out. Now,
false. And this is why they're telling the whole story out of order. I do own the shirts because Howard did get paid for them. You'll find out how in a moment because he's going to talk about it. But they're purposely telling the story out of order to make me look bad. And then they try to fix it after the fact, but it doesn't make sense because the story's already told. The damage is already done. When you watch this video, wow, Phil stole those shirts and sold them later on for profit. But he didn't own them all. Actually, I did. And you'll find out how in a moment.
I don't know if he finished giving them out, or if he managed to sell all of them, or if he sold them, or whatever the case may be. But when I start hearing about stuff like that, or I see videos of him posting that stuff, naturally, what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to get irritated beyond belief. Now, I don't want to go. I'm not going to go into it because now if I go into what I'm going to go into, it's going to derail everything.
All right, hold on.
So go
Let's stick with the shirts. So okay, listen. So he's taking shirts that your face is on the shirt.
Yeah.
He has to physically look at your face as he packages the shirt.
I did not design the logo. Howard talks to Respect the Pact to have those logos designed.
And then mail it as he goes to mail it. And never for a second thinks, wait a minute, this person paid for a percentage of the shirt.
Yep.
And on top of that, the logos, the actual shirts are made by Andre. He's not getting anything.
The shirts were not made by Andre. They were made by me, financed by me. The logos were made by Andre. That is correct.
Nope.
At one point, the shirts were in OJ's house.
And OJ was the one that was packing it and sending it to the people.
There was a point where that we only sold one or two. So I don't want to go nuts with that. But yeah, at one point OJ was actually he had them physically. He had them in his basement for months, and I think at one point Phil just said throw them out, and we didn't do it. I was like, no, don't throw them out. Maybe you could give them away. I was like, give them away like as a prize or something someday, So when he moved, he asked for them back, and I was like,
that is 1,000,000% false. And in fact, that might actually be the one lie that John tells in this whole video. Because pretty much everything John says is pretty factual, or at least half-truths. In this case, that's a lie.
All right,
and we'll talk about that.
So I got him from John, picked him up, brought him to his house. I didn't really think about it. And then, yeah, here you go. So now he's actually using them as an incentive to give him money or whatever the hell it is, And I'm sure his response will be something like, I don't remember that you paid, or I don't know. Or you never? Maybe he'll say you never brought it up to me but you shouldn't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you shouldn't have to now.
Really shouldn't have to call him and go, Phil, give me the money from my percentage of the shirt.
Yeah. Now, the way that I look at it for now with this, it's a wash. And this is why it's a wash. Actually, it's not really a wash when I look at it like this because of what he had told me. And this goes back to what we were talking about before about him detracting statements, right? So let's rewind before Project 7.
Okay, so now they just told a story of how I essentially stole a bunch of shirts that I didn't own, moved across the country, and started selling them to make profit. That's what they just said. I mean, in other words, in a summary, right? I'm not making that up. That's what they're accusing me of. Howard is now going to explain in this same video how he doesn't own the shirts and has no stake to them. I don't understand how people didn't understand this, but maybe it's because he told it out of sequence. He's literally going to explain to you why he has no stake in the shirts anymore. Only he tells it in a very exaggerated way like he tends to do everything. So maybe that's why you guys didn't understand. So I'm going to let him finish, and then I'm going to actually tell you the entirety of the story of what really happened with these shirts.
So what do? We start playing ST, right? We start buying the cabs. So you and I, and just to throw this information out there, the way this thing started was John and I decided to buy a cab, right? The cab shows up. In the middle of this, right, he comes, Phil shows up, and he's like, yeah, we're at his house, and we're looking at some of his stuff, and I found a Super Turbo board. He has a blue one. So we're like, oh, I didn't know you had a Super Turbo board and this and that. And he goes, I don't even know if this thing works anymore. So we plug it in. We go to the house. We bring it over to the house. We plug it in. It's dead, right? So CPS2 has a battery. The battery dies. The board dies. So he goes to me. He's like, man, I can't really do anything with it. You can keep it. If you can fix it, just keep it, right? So what do? I got a friend of mine that lives in Manchester, right? He goes, I call him up. I met him online, Bill. And Bill goes, yeah, just come by. I'll revive the board, right? So I throw him I think it was like $30 or $40, right? He goes, revives the boards for me, rewrites the EPROMs, gets rid of the battery. Board works fine, right? Mm-hmm. So one day he comes up and we start playing ST. I said, I managed to get that board up and running. All right, so when are you going to give it back to me? You just told me you're going to give me the fucking board. What do you mean give it back to you? What, are you out of your mind? I just paid $40 to revive this, and you think I'm going to give it back to you? Okay. So, and then this is when this...
Not going to say anything.
And then right after what happens, the T-shirt thing happens.
Yeah.
So you know what I say? Fuck it, I ain't giving you shit back. So I'm keeping a board, right, for the T-shirt, for the $300 that you owe me in fucking T-shirts.
Huh.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. Okay, time for the real story in the real order that it happened, okay? So, years ago, we were all playing Super Turbo together, and one day, John and Howard over at my house, I don't remember for what, probably a co-op or something. Howard's looking all over my house, don't ask me why, and he finds a Super Turbo board under my bed. It was in a plastic box. A cardboard box. What's a Super Turbo board? He doesn't explain. A Super Turbo board is a game cartridge. Think of when you have a Super Nintendo, you put in a game cartridge, a Genesis, you put in a game cartridge, okay? But it's for an arcade game. A arcade game cartridge is giant. It's huge. It's like this tall, this wide, and it plugs into a board with fucking transistors and shit all sticking out. That's how you would swap games in an arcade. You'd pop this board off, put a different board on, and now you have a different game playing on that cabinet, okay? Why the hell did I have a Super Turbo board under my bed? Because I was a tournament organizer on the East Coast of the United States in the late 2000s, and I ran a few tournaments where we needed Super Turbo boards for them, and I bought those boards off of eBay and used them in a tournament. Okay? So one day, John and Howard are over at my house. Howard's snooping around, finds this board under my bed. Says, what the hell is this doing here? Are you going to ever use it? I said, nope, probably not. He says, does it work? I said, I don't know. Can I have it? Sure, why not? Take it. I don't care. What do I give a fuck about, right? Take it. It's useless. It's under my bed. I'm not going to run any more Street Fighter tournaments. Go ahead, take it. Okay? I don't know anything about him restoring the board or anything till like later. We start going over his house. Apparently the board's restored. He says we can use it. I think we might have played on it a few times on his cabinet. I'm not sure. I don't care. Have the board. I don't care. You're my friend. I'm never going to use it. It's under my bed. Collecting fucking dust bunnies. Take it. Okay? Phil wants it back. No. I don't want to. What do I want the board back for? I don't have a cabinet. What the fuck do I want a Super Turbo board back for? Okay? I'm never going to use it. It's sitting under my bed collecting dust bunnies. You recharge the battery. You're using it in your house on a cabinet. Why would I ask for the board back? I don't remember asking for the board back. If I did, I would think it would have been in a joking manner, but apparently Howard hates my guts so much he doesn't understand that. Okay? But I didn't want a Super Turbo board back from this guy. He essentially just had it for free. Okay? Years later, the Project 7 thing happens. I spend $900 on shirts. He, later on, throws in his $300, says he wants in on the investment. All right? John and OJ have the shirts. They're at OJ's house. John's trying to sell them on his website. No one's buying them. They sold like 1 or 2 shirts. So when we went to conventions, they would bring the shirts along to the convention. We would sell them at the conventions. We sold a few shirts. What do they never mention? Oh, I paid Howard for the money of the t-shirts at the conventions. Absolutely, I did. We split the money. Split it. Everyone got a cut. Okay? Everyone made their money on the shirts for what we sold at conventions. Never explained, never elaborated on in this video, right? Never happened. Sure. So, after all our convention runs are done because Project 7's done, now we got a fucking thing full of shirts that are worthless. They're sitting in OJ's basement. John says to me, what should we do with these shirts? I said, throw them out. I outright told him this. I said, John, throw them out. We don't want to deal with these ever again. Trust me on this. Throw the shirts out. They're worthless. Okay? Okay. One day before I'm moving out of Connecticut, John comes over to help me pack up for the move. And what does he bring with him? The fucking shirts. He plops them down on my floor and says, oh, here's your shirts back. I said, what the fuck is this? He goes, it's your shirts. I said, I don't want these. I told you to throw these out like last year, 2 years ago. What are they? Oh, they were just sitting in OJ's basement for years. Oh, why? Okay. So what am I supposed to do with these now? Right? Now, I don't want them, but they're in with all my moving shit, right? Because he brought them over during my move. So guess what happens? I accidentally moved them with my shit. I didn't actually mean to, but you're marking like 100 boxes to move and shit. You're putting stickers on everything. I'm not thinking. Come to find out, I'm not kidding. That box of shirts that I already paid $900 for and I'm never getting my money back for cost me about another $75 to move across the country. Yes, no exaggeration. The company ripped me off that was moving my shit across the country and charged me an exorbitant amount of money for boxes. And so I ended up paying more money to move them to Washington. Okay? So now I'm sitting here in Washington. Now, in the meantime, in the interim of that, Howard says to me one day, because I'm moving, right? I'm moving across the country. He goes, I still got your Super Turbo board. And just so you know, you never paid me for the $300 for the shirts that never sold, but it was a wash. It's okay. But in exchange for that, I'm going to keep your Super Turbo board because we use it. We got it on my cabinet. We use it. So I'm just going to keep that. And I said, that sounds like a great idea. Now we don't have to worry about, money owed and shit between friends when I move. You keep the board. I keep the shirts. It's a wash, right? There you go. That was what happened. It wasn't, he's secretly keeping the board to spite me. He asked me if he could keep it. I said, yes, you can have it. I already gave it to you years ago. You've been using it all along. Why would I want the board back? Like, why would Phil want a fucking Super Turbo board back? I don't have a cabinet. It's a worthless piece for me. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even make sense to say that I would want it back. And, I really got him. I really poked at him by keeping his board because he owed me money. No, Howard. That never happened. He has this, like, weird notion in his mind that he's, like, a badass, and he's, like, sticking it to everyone around him who's wronged him and all this. This stuff never happened, man. Never. He's, in person, Howard is the nicest person you will ever meet. But it seems to me like behind your back, he's probably one of the meanest dudes. Like, I can't believe the shit he's saying in this video. That's blatantly lies. Okay? Blatantly lies. So let's recap one more time. I paid $900 for the shirts. He wanted in on them and paid $300 later after I had already financed the shirts. Okay? Then he got paid for all the shirts that had ever sold. So he got his cut of the shirts that sold at conventions and things. He got paid for those. I wanted the shirts thrown out. They were brought to my house against my will. Okay? I paid $75 more to have the shirts moved across the country, so there's even more money invested in these shirts now. If I don't own them yet, how much more do I have to spend on them, right? Then on top of that, He tells me I'm keeping your Super Turbo board to pay for the shirts. Okay, keep it. So we're even Steven. Where the fuck does this story come from? Right? I'll tell you where the story comes from. The trolls. Because as guilty as I always was of buying into the troll shit, they were just as guilty. When I started putting up those shirts on my Patreon, which I owned once, twice over, paid the shit out of them at this point, okay? Trolls start, oh, but you don't own those. Those shirts don't just have your face on them. There's Johnny Howard on it. Don't you feel bad selling those shirts on Patreon? Which I wasn't selling them. They were patron perks, okay? They weren't actual outright sale. I wasn't selling a t-shirt on the internet, okay? But there you go. Like, oh, don't you think that, that's messed up? No, it's not messed up. It's not. I own the shirts way over the cost of what they should have been to begin with, okay? And it's ludicrous. This guy was paid. He's keeping my Super Turbo board. I challenge you now to go look on the internet and find a Super Turbo board. They're not even available anymore. They're collector's items. They go for a ridiculous amount of money, way more than $300. And he has this board in his possession today, okay? I don't want to hear this bullshit. It's bullshit. It's petty. It's a ridiculous thing. You want to say Phil fucked up Project 7 because he was talking shit publicly about he wrote it all. Fact. That's a fact. Maybe not in so many of those words, but that's a fact. Phil did not directly pay us for Project 7. That's a fact, except for Rambo, who got paid even though there was no money. I paid him to basically get a car. It's a fact. Phil sold shirts he didn't fully own. That is a bull-faced fucking lie. That is 100% fake. He made it up because he wanted to razz me. He wanted to get me. They were upset with the fact that over the years they didn't like me anymore. They had this built-up resentment. I had a shirt with their faces on it. I owned them fully. But he wanted to say, oh, Phil is such a jerk. He owed me money. I didn't owe him shit. I still don't owe you shit. Okay? You're out of your mind. This guy, again, why is he in this fucking video? This video was supposed to be the friendship of me and John Rambo. And he has fully interjected himself into this situation as a third party that was barely involved in the issues between me and John Rambo, yet he's the one narrating. He's the one telling the story. Like, what is going on here? You have no idea when I first watched this video how fucked up it was. I was like, what is this shit? I can't even believe this is on the internet like this. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, that's the end of Project 7. They're going to move on to other stuff. So, let's split the part. Oh, boy. Okay.